Smart automation, better business. Learn how to optimize your business with Solved.
Are you struggling to manage those complex multi-year deals that involve bundled products, usage-based items, and need group-level discounting in Salesforce Revenue Cloud? I'm Parker, a Salesforce consultant at Solved, and we are experts in optimizing your quote-to-cash process in Revenue Cloud. In this video, we're going to walk through the entire process of setting up and utilizing the new Ramp Deals for Groups feature, available in Winter 26 release. You'll learn the essential administrative configurations and step-by-step user workflow so that you can start simplifying complex quotes by ramping multiple products at the group level and applying uplifts and discounts at the same group level, saving you significant time and ensuring deal accuracy. Let's dive in. Before we can even use the grouping functionality, we need to make sure that the correct settings are enabled. First, navigate to Setup and then Revenue Settings. Under Revenue Settings, there's a few things we want to make sure are enabled. First, we want to make sure that we have ramp deals for lines and quotes enabled. We also want to make sure we have ramp deals for groups in quotes and orders. We want to make sure that we have enabled groups in quotes and orders, and that we can clone quotes and orders as well. All of these will make sure that we have the correct setup to then view these groups on a quote. The next thing we want to do is navigate to the Lightning app builder for our quote page. We're going to navigate to our quote line items. This is where we have our transaction line editor. What we want to do is make sure that you are using the sales transaction line editor. This is the new transaction line editor that came with Winter 26. You can see this by, if you choose your transaction line editor, make sure that it says sales transaction line editor instead of the transaction line editor. Once you have that set up, you'll see that the configuration is slightly different. We'll want to make sure that we choose the correct columns to use during our configuration. The first thing we want to do are our display columns. You can see here, I am using the basic information, quote line group name, description, product name, quantity, list price, discount fields, net unit price, net total price, start date, end date, quote line group start date and end dates, and then unit price uplift. It's important that we include our quote line group start and end date along with our quote line start and end date, as it is a required field to fill out as we look towards ramping quote lines. If we could also come down here, we can see how things are grouped by the adjustment type column. You can specify, like we did with the previous transaction line editor, the action buttons that can be used. You can also change some of the fields in the ramp review ramp details and edit ramp schedule windows, which we'll see in just a second. But for our purposes, this is the basic setup. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this as you can mimic that within your current system. Once you have that set up, you can go ahead and click Save, navigate back to our quote, where we can then make sure we have the correct setup. I'm going to go ahead and delete this group so I can show how we can go ahead and ramp this deal. Great. So after a quick refresh, we will see that we have no products here on this quote. We're going to first add a product. We're going to go to our software catalog, and we are going to choose any product. One thing that previously existed with ramp deals is that you had to specify the ramp configuration on the product level. That still can exist if you want to do product level ramping, but for groups, having that functionality is not required. I'm going to go ahead and add our Slack product, one of them. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Quote. So this is added to our transaction line editor. From here, we can see that we have just our basic line setup. Since we are wanting to use groups, I'll go ahead and click Add Group. You'll see that this configuration is slightly different than our previous configuration for Revenue Cloud, as our groups are within our transaction line editor instead of creating separate groups or separate sections. So you can also see that we have some of the ability to edit these fields. Right now, they're all locked because we do need to save this quote or save the changes now that we've added a group. Once we see that that has been saved, and in some cases it might require just a quick refresh, you will see that one, we can edit the description, we can edit the group name, ramping demo. We can edit the adjustment type, so we could have group level discounting. And we can edit the start and end date. Once we have set this group name, I'm going to go ahead and click Save and show what we are able to do. So now that we have this set up, again, I'm going to click refresh one last time. We can come to our group and we can clone a group if we want to just have multiple groups with the same structure. But since we're wanting to ramp a group, we need to make sure that we set this up correctly. Once we click on a group, we will get our quote line group information here on the right-hand side. We need to set this group ramp segment information. We need to set this to true, and we need to set our segment type. In this case, I'm going to choose yearly. Once I do that, I can click Save. And in this case, we're going to get an error. This error helps us show what information we need in order to ramp. And an important field, like I mentioned earlier, is our start and end date. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel this. We're going to come in and set our start and end date. It's just saving some of the changes. So now we can see our start and end date are editable here on the group line. I'm going to go ahead and select our start date as today and our end date as 1 year from today, 2026. Again, this is a monthly based product. That's why we're seeing this this date, but we're going to set a specific group date. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save here. We'll go ahead and refresh this page, and we'll see that we have a start and end date. We'll go ahead and follow the same process of setting is ramped to true and segment type to yearly. Click Save. Now we can see that we no longer have that error, and we have some new options when selecting this right-hand drop down. We can go ahead and edit ramp schedule. We can clone the segment. We can delete the segment. In this case, we want to have another year, so we're going to clone this segment. You can choose here what lines we want to ramp. If we only want to include the ramped line items, or if we want to include all line items. In most cases, I would suggest just choosing all line items. Once that is done, and after a quick refresh of the page, we will see now that we have a second group, and it has been labeled as year 2 with a date that begins a year at the end of our first term. Now we have this functionality here. Thanks for watching this video, and if you want to learn more, stay tuned for part 2 to learn how to enhance your ramping ability.
Thank you so much for watching. We can't wait to help you automate your business. Please like, comment, or subscribe for more.